Hello, Jo.
Hello.
Hello, we're here at the Knitting and Stitching Show and you have a fabulous exhibition here. Could you tell me something about the style of work that you create?
I'm absolutely obsessed with shadows, and so all my work needs to be see-through, it needs to be very fine and very clear. I love drawing and I love the line, so I'm very interested in line in textiles. So what I do is I machine with black thread on most of my work, and it's all about memory. And it started off about 4 years ago when I had a granddaughter, when she was playing with my toys that I'd played with 50 years ago, then my son's played with, and now she's playing with, and it began to feel like those precious memories are embedded within those toys. And then all the toys that I work with are old and gnarled and worn out because they've had a lot of love and probably a lot of wear. And so I'm not interested in the new ones, I'm interested in the memories that seem to be embedded within them. So it's about coming to a shadow where you remember something and you come to a definition of that memory, and that definition is the actual piece of artwork. So when I work with torches, and I check everything I do with a torch so that the shadow is as important, if not more important, than the bit of fabric that I'm working with. That's really what I've tried to encompass this year in the mobiles, so that they move around, and hopefully the people that come move round the mobiles. They have to walk through them, so they have to engage with them. And these are machine embroidered, watercoloured, coloured with textile pens, and then machine embroidered, and then actually machined onto plastic one side, so that they have the structure that's necessary to move round and to hold their shape as they're in the hoops. So I think that maybe it's important to walk through those mobiles and experience that intensity of memory that perhaps people of a generation that we are and younger, and actually my sons at 30, remember the love and the passion that they felt for their first toy or their second toy, and how it became a friend. There's a fantastic quote that I've got, and I'm just going to read it because it's just behind your back, and it says, "The toys are back, life is back, we are free." And this is from Hassan, and it says, "Dolls and teddy bears return to eastern Mosul after Islamic State is ousted." And I think that made me think that what I was doing was much more important than twee little toys. What I didn't want to do is have little soft twee toys and people think I was just doing toys for a nursery. I think it's much more in depth than that. And so then I started researching what people felt about toys and play, and there's 3 or 4 quotes just up there about play and how important it is when we're younger.
So do you source your toys and then take drawings of them?
Yes, I draw them. So I initially started with my old toys, and they're here today. There's 4 of them, and if you see the images around, they're mostly the monkey, the old Ted, the broomus that I had, and they're all worn and well loved. The monkey's got a tail that doesn't hang anymore, and he's been held for so long he's been dragged around the floor. Then there's the next generation of toys, which were my son's toys. They were being used. And then I had friends that couldn't wait to bring their toys to me, to have them photographed for me to draw them, because they had so much emotion embedded within their toys. And I've even done commissions of toys. So people have sent me their old teddy so that they could have that actually made into a piece of artwork for somebody that they love. So that's lovely. So there's a sort of movement through into an art form from something that people have had a lot of emotional input in. I went and did the art fair, and there was a very strong suited gentleman that looked very formal and very conservative, the small c, and he just walked past and he just said, "I'll have that." And it was a very expensive Perspex toy, one of the 3D ones. And I said, "Can I just ask you who for?" He said, "For me, of course." And I felt, well, yes, some people get it, that it's actually about the emotional response you have to something in your childhood.
And toys are a very important part of people's childhood. And as you just referenced, in war-torn areas, those are the important things that children take with them.
Well, it's like having a pet dog, isn't it? It's like something you can talk to that's yours, that doesn't respond, doesn't shout back at you.
Doesn't judge.
Doesn't judge. It's there, and it's just pure love, because what you give it, it responds back, doesn't it? And that's necessary, I think.
It is. So you were here a few years ago. How has your work evolved since then? And why have you evolved it in the way that you have?
I'm not sure, other than I want to become more sculptural. I want it to come off the walls, and I want people to move around it. And so then I started trying to use perspex, and I actually sew through the perspex. So I sandwich my work between two pieces of perspex, but then I have to drill through the two pieces of perspex and sew the textiles into the perspex. So I'm actually drilling about 100 and some odd holes to hold the image into the perspex. So then I thought, right, well, how can I get lots of things where people can get involved in and move through? And that's when I went into lighter plastic. So the organza is on the one side of it, but then it's machined with perspex, plastic around it, so that then it's substantial enough to be able to stand alone, especially with a hoop that supports it. So that's a new development, really. But I would love to do gigantic sculptures. So I think I'm probably moving towards sculpture in some way, because I like to see people walk around them instead of just flat on the wall. So I don't know. And also into fabric, because I like to think that you could use the stitch, the black line and the stitch, into something else. And because this print is so big, you can actually still see the stitching and the loops of the stitches. And that makes me happy, because you're extending the understanding of textiles and stitch to another medium. This is quite important, because I've done this piece of work, particularly Tumbling Memories, to go into a national collection of contemporary textiles. So when Harrogate's over, this will then go to this new building, which is not far from Hampton Court, that they're just having done. And Diana Springall is the person that's actually got the National Collection of Contemporary Textiles at the moment, and they're moving into a building in the next year. So this is for that, and I'm very proud to be part of that. I think that I'm coming to the end of this section of my toy work, and I'm running workshops with it, with my son's studio that he's just opened at Hive in Tottenham. After that, I'm thinking I might try figures. I've just been to Vietnam, and I've seen and spoken to people that are frightened to speak and frightened to give their opinions, and actually it made me quite emotional. And we met a lady there that was 80, and she said she'd never been able to speak her mind all her life, but she knew what her thoughts were in her heart. And I think I've got loads of pictures of not her, but things that I would like to do with maybe a stitch across their mouths. So I'm not tired of toys, but I think I need now, after this, body of work, I'm going to explore other possibilities.
Thank you very much for your time.
It's a pleasure.